Good morning. Today's class is a reading and listening lesson. This class, I have my student, my regular student, Etzna Caballero, who's over there. Can you say hi, Etzna?
Hi.
Fantastic. We have a regular class, and as per the activity that was asked in the university activity, we're going to have the class as a real class today, and you're going to be able to see the listening and reading class that we're having today, right? So, hi, Etna, how are you today?
Hi, teacher. I'm fine, and you?
I am excellent. Thank you very much for asking. How have you been? Good?
Yes, I'm good.
What about your classes? Are you doing good at university classes?
Yes, I just finished my last class,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so cool to see you
Right,
this morning.
yes. I feel so too. You were telling me last time that you went to Mexico City, right?
Yes, yeah.
And did you have the
Uh,
opportunity to use the metro?
mhm.
What do you think about
Yes,
the
I have
metro?
to travel.
What do you think about the metro in Mexico City?
I think it's a good alternative because it's the cheaper transport in Mexico City, but. Um, I think metro has a disadvantages because um, mm, because metro isn't has a good strategy for the schedule.
Okay.
Um, Sometimes are a lot of people in in one station, and you can have an access with the subway.
Right.
And I think sometimes for the rain I have some problems because the metro go too slow.
Right.
And if you have an a little time
Okay.
and you can get angry for that. And I think it's all, but I really like this transport, but just happened a tragedy,
Yes, it did.
and I think it's so sad. And today on Metro, um, mm, yesterday I have to travel, and it's so sad because the people are protesting
Okay.
because about our security, and I think it's important and is an important point in this situation.
Yes, I completely agree with you. Well, I was asking about the metro because today we're going to talk about the metro system, but obviously not in Mexico City. We'll be talking about the metro system, I think the first one in the world that was built in London. It's very old.
Oh,
A lot of people would imagine that it's pretty modern, but actually, the first metro system that was invented was done in the 1800s. So let's see about that. How about that, right? Okay. So could you please help me open the material that we have for today's class?
yes.
Thank you.
Mm, Uh, Give me a moment, please.
Sure.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can definitely see it. Okay.
Okay.
So the name of the reading today is The First Underground Train. So, like I said, this first underground train was built in London. So, let's see what it is. Let's see what the reading has to say about it. Could you please help me read the first paragraph?
Yes. Today there are underground train systems in other 40 countries. example, you can take underground trains in Paris, New York, and Tokyo. Modern underground systems use electronic trains and they are clean, safe, and quiet. They usually arrive on time. There are no traffic jams. The most people are happy to use them. But the first underground train systems were quite different from the modern systems we see in big cities all around the world.
Right, very good. So, what does this paragraph talk about?
Uh, are talking about the subways,
Right,
um, the the underground train systems are in around the world.
right. Majority of the countries
uh,
use them. Correct. Very good. Do you have any vocabulary questions in this paragraph?
um, jam,
Oh, they are together. Traffic jams. When the traffic
traffic
is
jams.
terrible, you say that there is a traffic jam. You know, for
Oh,
example, imagine in this moment it's 9 a.m. right now. So can you imagine the way the quebrada is in this moment here
mm-hmm.
in the Mexico Querétaro? Well,
Yes.
probably it looks like a
Oh,
parking lot. There's a lot of
oh,
traffic. So that's what a traffic jam
okay,
is,
okay.
right?
Right. Okay.
Do you have any other
Yes.
questions?
Mm, no, I
Great.
think so.
Okay. Let's move on to paragraph 2. Could you help me out there, please?
Okay. Yes. The first underground trains ran in London in 1863.
Hmm.
It was very busy city and in the streets were full of traffic. There were too many people, horses, carriages, horses and buildings. There just wasn't enough space above ground. And so people decided to put the rains underground, but unlike today, there were no electric trains in 1863, and all of the trains used steam engines, which made power from fire and water.
Right, very good. Okay, this is the here is a suggestion. Usually, when you say the years, when you talk about the years or the in dates, you divide it into parts, so it's easier. So you can say
Okay.
1863.
1863.
Mhm.
Okay.
Divided in two. 1863, right?
Okay,
Perfect.
right.
Do you have any vocabulary questions here?
Hmm. I want to know what the pronunciation horse carriage.
Uh-huh. It's horse
It's a
carriages. In sing-
carriage.
uh-huh. In singular, it's just one. Carriage.
Okay,
In plural,
carriages.
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 Very good.
Okay. Um. mm, and I think uh, steam.
Steam. Well, when you boil water, the little vapor that you see on top of the water coming out because the water is becoming vapor, that is steam.
Mm,
Usually when
um,
vapor is only, for example, when you put water in your stove, there's just a little vapor coming out of the water. Steam is high pressure vapor. you know when the fire is really 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 hot and there's a lot of water just turning into vapor, that's steam.
oh, okay, okay. Thank you.
Sure, certainly. Do you have any more questions?
No, no. I think.
So what does
I
this
don't think
paragraph
that.
talk about? What is the general idea? Just
Ah,
tell me a couple of sentences. What is
the
the general idea?
about the first underground trains.
Hmm.
What what would be one uh, the causes.
Okay.
Okay, the characteristics about that, and what is the objective of this transport
Right.
in this specific time.
Correct. Very good. Okay, let's move on to paragraph 3 then, please.
Okay. In, in 1863, all of the trains used steam engines because these engines were powered by hot water and fire. The tunnels were smoky, steamy, and noisy. The people wanted some fresh air, but it was difficult to get into the tunnel station. The tunnels were dark too. The trains, car, and stations were made of wood and lighted in gas. Sometimes there were accidents because of fires.
Right. Do you have any vocabulary questions here?
Mm, mm, no.
Okay. So, what is the idea in this paragraph?
In this paragraph, in the last paragraph, when I say underground, I thought can be this steamy engines correct
Hmm.
underground.
Hmm.
But in this paragraph, I can see the real problems and difficult about that, and I think was so crazy
Yes, it was.
about about all the problems and in this technology.
Right. I agree with you. Okay. Let's move on to paragraph 4. Let me help you with this one, okay?
Okay.
It says, before the London Underground opened, people were very scared about the idea of going into underground tunnels. Many were afraid of the tunnels full of the smoke, the steam, and the noise from the train engines. And indeed, traveling in the tunnels of the first underground system was very noisy, dark, and a smelly experience. But on the first day, the new London Underground carried 40,000 passengers. It was very quick, and the trains ran every 10 minutes. The people of London fell in love with their new train system. All right, how about that? Do you have any vocabulary problems in this one?
Mm, indeed, indeed,
Um, Let me see. Indeed.
indeed.
Indeed. Okay, that is a very difficult word to explain in English, so I'm going to have to say it in Spanish. Indeed.
Okay.
Indeed would mean something like en verdad or de hecho, depending on the position that you use it. In this case, it would
Um,
be, and indeed, traveling in the tunnels of the first underground system was very noisy. So you can say, y de hecho, el viajar por estos túneles, etc., etc. Okay? That's what indeed means. Okay.
okay. Okay. Okay.
Do you have any other
I
questions?
think. I think.
So what do you think? Was it like really scary to travel in this new system of transport?
I think I will never travel in these
Okay.
trains because I really feel scared.
Okay.
But I think if this transport will be more efficient than others, and it's new and will be the the most uh, the most have a lot of technology.
Right.
But I would be interesting. I will never travel
But you see,
in
it was
this
very
system.
successful. The first time, it was very successful in London. I mean, 40,000 passengers is a lot of people for a city that was not that
Yes,
big back then.
yes, I can understand. Will be the will be innovate
Right.
in this time, but I think for me, I feel scared.
Okay, very good. So now, please, could you help me out with the last paragraph?
Yes, the London Underground had three classes for travel. First class was the most expensive and the most comfortable. Second class was less expensive but still comfortable. Third class was opposite of the first class. When the London Underground opened, the third class tickets were the most popular. About 70% of the tickets sold were at least cheap tickets for ordinary working people. Now, nowadays, the prices have gone up, but the underground experience around the world is definitely clearer and quieter.
Excellent, thank you very much. Okay, do you have any vocabulary problems here?
Yes, nowadays.
Nowadays. Nowadays means that in the actual days, in this
Okay.
time. Mhm.
And the quieter,
Yes,
quieter.
quieter is the comparative of quiet. Remember, quiet is the opposite of noisy. It's not noisy, it's quiet.
Ah,
Okay? So it's quieter. Quieter than it was in the past, right? That's why you're using a comparative.
okay, okay, okay. And I think so.
Okay. So what were they talking about here in this paragraph?
About the three classes for travel,
Okay.
and the first class, the second class, and the third class. But this third class were the most popular,
Mhm.
because I think the the people who has to go has to go to work.
Mhm.
um, it will be the first target
Right.
for this for this underground train.
Correct. Very good. Okay. So, what is your opinion in general about the reading?
Oh, it's so interesting.
Mhm.
I learned something new.
Right.
and and I think it's crazy how the evolution of the train,
Mhm.
the subway, um, and I can see something about in movies
Right.
and the places are too clear
Right.
when you see the most rich people and the work people,
That's
the
correct.
people who go to work. And
Yes.
I think
For some
it's
reason, British
interesting.
people always did that. They always discriminated, in class. The rich people, they had one seat, one special place, and then the people who can not afford traveling with so much, so luxuriously, they had to buy a cheaper one. But I don't know. For me, it never made sense. At the end of the day, the same train took people to the same places. So I don't understand. But anyway, all right. Well, let's move on to the first activity. In this case, the activity
Okay.
says that you need to choose the best title for each paragraph. Now that you more or less remember what the paragraphs were about, I'm sorry, you have each paragraph had a number. Paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. So,
Okay.
what you need to do is to read the heading and imagine what would be the best title for each paragraph. Okay? For example, letter A says, why the first underground train system was built. Which paragraph mentions that?
I think the second,
Okay?
the paragraph two.
Right. So, in the little square that you have over there, just type number 2.
Okay.
There you go. Great. Now, sentence B says, tickets for the first underground system. Which paragraph mentions something about the tickets?
Mm, well, tickets. Paragraph 5.
Okay, very good. Let's write it down. Great. Letter C. People's feelings about the first underground train system. Which paragraph mentions something about the way the people felt?
4.
Okay. Great. Part D. What the first underground system was like.
3.
Okay. Letter E. Railroads of the first underground system. Which paragraphs mentions something about the railroads?
Railroad. What's the meaning of railroads?
It's the steel pieces in which the train rolls. You know, there are some steel bars on the floor that usually have wood underneath. You know, the metal bars on the floor. That is the railroad.
In paragraph 3.
Okay. And letter F. What about modern underground train systems?
1.
Okay. Which paragraph talks about the modern underground train systems?
In the last. Mm, mm, I think the first
Okay.
paragraph.
All right.
Yes.
Very good. Excellent. Okay. Let's move on to exercise 2. Okay. At the end of the exercises, you will be able to hit check to see if you were correct or not. Okay. Well, let's see now.
Okay.
This second part is a true or false exercise. And it says, statement A, the stations and tunnels of the first underground system were smoky. Is that true or false?
True.
Okay. Statement B, the first underground trains were late because of traffic jams.
First. No, false.
Okay.
False.
Letter C, there were 3 types of tickets for the first underground trains.
True.
Okay. Letter D, the first underground trains were built in Paris.
False.
Okay. Letter E, at first, people were worried about using the first underground trains.
True.
Okay. Letter F, the first underground train stations were made of wood.
I don't know.
No problem, you can always go back to the reading.
The train constitution. It's true.
Okay. Letter G, ordinary working people could not buy first class underground tickets.
Yeah, true.
Listen to the wording. Ordinary working people could not buy first class underground tickets.
No podría. Will not. False.
Okay, letter H. The ticket prices today are still cheap for ordinary working people. Excellent. Let's move on to exercise 3. Okay. It says, complete the sentences with an exact word, phrase, or number from the text. Maximum 3 words. Okay? So let's see. The sentence in number 1 says, in 1963, there weren't any trains. What is the word that can complete the spaces over there? The space over there.
Underground.
All right, fantastic. Let's write it down. Yeah, let's write it down.
I, um,
Okay. Number 2, steam engines used the power of. Remember, you can use 1, 2, or 3 words. Okay.
okay. I see. Steam engines use the power of uh, um, fire and water.
That's right. You need both elements in order to make steam, right?
Fire.
Okay. Number 3, thousands of people used the London Underground on.
Thousands of use. Mm, mm, mm. I don't know.
Think about it. When was it mentioned that thousands of people used it?
Those. I think in this paragraph, but I'm not sure.
They mentioned thousands of passengers using the train. When did that happen?
On the first day?
Right. Number 4, the old London Underground used lights.
Mm. 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 About the line with mm, it's correct. In paragraph 3, talk about light with gas.
Mm-hmm.
Be um, gas light.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Always follow your instincts.
Okay.
And number 5, when the London Underground opened, most of the tickets sold were the.
Mm, were the were they?
Hmm?
Uh, cheap tickets?
Correct. Very good. Okay. Do you have any questions regarding these activities right now?
No.
Okay. Well, all of these exercises that we just did have to do with the reading that we had, okay? We were able to identify what the paragraphs were about, to decide whether some sentences were true or false, and then complete with some vocabulary words the sentences that were given. Now, in the second part, we're going to have the opportunity to watch a video and listen to a story on how the first London tube started. Okay, now you will see that in this history, the word tube is very important for the British, for the Londoners, right? For example, here in Mexico, we call our system the metro, similar to the way they call it in France. In the United States, they call it the subway, okay? And even though all of these systems are underground, Londoners call it the tube.